Alright, new day in paradise. Today, this mission, we are going to bore these cylinder holes out to fit the 92mm cylinders. Previous video, I put the case savers in already, so what we're going to do is make sure this thing is flat, level, all that fun stuff. Get it set up in a fixture in the mill, and then I'm going to find the center point of the hole using a coaxial indicator, and then we will use the boring head with some boring bars to dig into this thing. So I'm excited, I'm looking forward to this. It's the first time I did it, so if it gets messed up, we'll have to use a different case. So that is what it is. I'll take my time and get it done, so hopefully it doesn't get messed up, and let's get it done. From that distance to that distance, so from one end of the cylinder to the other, it looks like a 0.5 thousandths off. So snug that up a little bit more. I don't want to go too tight because steel on magnesium here, I don't want to crack it, I don't know. So I'll keep doing that back and forth, front and back, until I get it exact. Alright guys, here's what we got. We got it fairly flat here, but the question at hand is, are these holes bored in relation, parallel or perpendicular to this surface, or are they bored at an angle towards the crank? That's the question at hand here. I've tried running indicators up and down to no avail. I don't think I have the right indicator or the right setup. So what this here is spinning around is a coaxial indicator. Basically, I could find the center of that hole using this. As you see, as it spins through that hole, that gauge is barely moving. I mean, that's dead nuts. That is center. So what I'm going to do is basically, to get center, I will adjust the X, which is this way, to get it to minimize the movement, and then I adjust the Y to get it even more, and then I fine tune each to get it perfect like it is right now. So that's center. So with that in mind, so if this goes down and the hole is perpendicular, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to go to this one, find the center of that one, and then I'm going to set up my cutting tool and I'm going to cut that one first, and then in order to get back to dead center on this one with the cutting tool still in the machine rather than having to switch tooling, I can bring it back to 0 and then I'll know it's exactly in the center where it is right now. But that's kind of the horse leading the carriage. I want to go down with this, just straight down, not X and Y. Even though we have it 0, we can always come back. But so if I go down and that starts moving, now the little bit is just the crusties on the thing. Alright. See, there's little imperfections in the metal is making it jump, but it's jumping back to the same spot. So if anything, it's a thousandths off up and down. We're level this way. We're good to go. I'm going to center this and then set up the tool, and we'll start cutting away today. I think I'm going to go get a burrito though. I'm starving. Greg, go get me a burrito. Alright, there you have it. That's the second hole. That gauge reads, as you can see, in half thousandths, and that's less than a line, so that's less than a half a thousandths from dead center of that opening. More tight enough tolerance than is necessary for this, I believe. So I'm going to switch over tooling, and we are going to start boring. Pretty cool. Alright, I think we're kind of set up here. We got the boring head installed. You can see what it's going to do. It's going to slide around. Now I'm just going to take a small cut at first to make sure the case is secure, and then basically I'll make 3 cuts. The initial cut to make sure everything's okay, and then I don't know if you notice, if you see that line in the middle, this is machined thinner than towards the fins of the cylinder, so there's like a little lip up top. I'm assuming to get it to seat in the case a little better, help with wobble. I also set the depth to about 10 thousandths over this depth, this distance here of that flange. So I'm going to use the quill. You're really not supposed to in this type of situation, but we're only going a little over 5/8 of an inch, so we're not going that deep, and we're going to go slow. So let's see how it rolls. Alright, we're all rigged up here in the mill. We're going to clearance the insides. All the red is what I have to take out. Now, it's probably overkill because I'm going to run a 78 millimeter crank rather than 82. But in the future, if I ever want to run an 82, I'll be able to. So I'm just going to set you up here for a second. I'll do one cut, and then you know, it's pretty repetitive and monotonous. So show you how it cuts, and then we'll go from there. should do it. Notch there. We'll do 4. Basically, when the rods swing around, this one using stock VW rods, so the rod bolts are pretty big. So you have to clearance that a little bit. At least I know on an 82, but we'll find out more when I put the 78 crank in here. But I just don't want to put it in here and have to take it apart. So we'll do those 4. And then down in there so they clear the cylinder wells. I haven't opened these up yet. But we'll do that on another one. Alright, YouTube. We got it. Took about an hour and a half per side. Once I got the right tooling down, it went a lot quicker. It was, again, this is my first time doing this. Not the first time running a mill, but the first time machining out a case for a Volkswagen. And I think it turned out pretty good. We have our 4 reliefs on the edge. There's our cylinder reliefs down there. All 4 of those done. The tricky part was this. It's hard to make a gradual incline with a flat bit, but I didn't have the right tooling. But I think I made it work. Looks pretty good. Same with this side. I guess there's a little to be desired with it, but it could always be touched up with a little Dremel or something. It still needs to be deburred. As you can see, there's a bunch of burrs on the edges, so see in there, those burrs. The inside has to be deburred. Here's the other side. Again. And all 4 of those. But either way, turned out pretty good. I know I have a Bridgeport, but I used to run or use that little, it's a mill drill. Enco makes them. This one's actually made in the 80s by none other than Menards back in the 80s. Pretty cool. But this little mill drill would serve the same purpose. I think I bought this a few years ago for a couple $100. So definitely a tool you might want to think about. Now that's a little more than a couple $100, but it's a lot more sturdy. But again, I think it turned out pretty good. Also on this side of this case, I did already bore out the holes for 92 thick wall or 94mm cylinders. I still have to do that side. But anyway, thanks for watching. I think it's something a little different, manually machining a engine case, and that's how you do it. Those are the hot spots that need to be done. found 0 coax indicator. That gauge reads in half thousandths, so that's less than a half thousandths off of perfect dead center of that hole. So now I lock the table, make sure the gauge doesn't move. Okay. So it did move a little bit, but it's still less than a half a thousandths. So I'm happy with that. Half a thousandths is pretty tight. Alright, just to finish up, this is the left case. Well, I guess facing from the back, facing forward, it would be on the right. Cylinder 2 and 1. You can see it's clearanced. Everything in there is clearanced. Looks pretty good. This is the one that was just off the stand. Same deal. I also stuck the crank in there and gently bolted the rods on, and it clears everything. These stock VW rods that I'm going to be using, the bolt head is huge, so even with the 78 millimeter, I think I would have had to clearance it. So everything is clear. Of course, this needs to be cleaned yet. We look at there's cylinder 1, cylinder 2. They're both decked. There's cylinder 3, decked, and 4. All the jugs fit right in with. I tried for 10 thousandths play for heat expansion, but plus or minus. More so on the plus, but I think it'll be alright because the case savers are in there now on both sides. So we should get a good torque on the case halves. Now this is one that I disassembled in another video. I don't know if I posted it yet, but this is what I was basing off. This was built by a local guy who builds motors, and I don't know, I think mine looks just as good considering it's my first and his who knows how many. The one thing he did do was gouge out this oil galley on the center cam. So I may mimic that on mine. And you can see the difference. This is hogged out. That I'll do manually if I do it. But the only thing I think he's got me on is these, because he had the right tool to do it, and I just had to ride the handles and kind of gradually take some out. but crank clears. I think we'll be in good shape. Appreciate you watching. You know, again, you don't need a mill to clearance this out. I mean, I could see doing this with a Dremel tool or a small grinder. It would take a heck of a lot longer. Or also a small mill drill would be able to do this. So I mean, it can be done. I mean, I thought it was something, you know, I thought it'd be a lot more difficult. It's something that I have never done before, and you know, it's intimidating tearing these motors apart and trying to put them together. You know, maybe stock is pretty much bolt together, but you know, what fun is that? So, I mean, if we're going balls deep, and we're gonna go big. So, I have the machinery, so I think it turned out pretty damn good. So, the case, I think, will be a success, and I think we can move on to the cleaning and assembly process. Thanks for watching, man. If it's something that you like, let me know, because this is pretty cool running tools. So thanks for watching. You know, like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. You know, for the few of you that watch these, I hope it helped, and you know, have a good one.